Art students, here we are again back at the drawing table, and a while back I promised someone to do a video on drawing different body types. So this is going to be the video. This one's going to be the male edition. So the next video is going to be drawing different body types or different body shapes and sizes on females. So this is going to be the male edition. All right. In my book, Action Pose Positions 360, can't forget that. What I did is I drew out the shapes of everything you need to draw a body. Now, when I teach basic, simple shapes because we draw basic, simple shapes every day, especially when we write. So these are the basic shapes that you use when you draw the body. Then when you put them together, they're just like this. These are the same shapes that you see right on this page, just put together to fit the body. And then when you tighten them up, you have this. You might have to shape it a little bit more, but you have this basic. So in order to teach you how to draw different types of the body, I need to show you how to draw the body, period. Now, this is for those of you who are new to the channel. Maybe you just found it and you said, hey, that looks interesting, or that thumbnail looks interesting. I need to learn how to draw different types because I only can draw one particular type or particular shape. So I'm going to show you how to, first of all, draw that one shape or type, and then show you how to change it to become a different, my character wants to come out my mouth, different type or different shape. So I have a pencil in my hand, but I'm looking for a darker pencil. Usually I will use my red because I have my overhead light on, which makes everything a little lighter. So I guess I'll use it as long as it's, if I press a little darker, because someone once said I was drawing too light. So starting out, let me get back to my page here. Get back to my page. I always start out with the torso. I always do the torso first because to me the torso is the most important thing. A lot of people start out with the head and then you end up running the rest of your feet coming off the page. So I start out with the torso, and then that should give me the size of everything else I need. So I'm going to draw the basic person using these shapes and then go from there and then show you what to do after that. All right, so as I say, I start out with the torso, which to me is the basic body part, the most important body part, always the oval. And I do the beetle, which I call this. And when I was young, I taught myself how to draw. I looked and I looked and I looked and I started tracing and I started doing lines over the body till I figured out what connects where and what goes where and how goes this and that. So what I've learned to do is I've drawn this, then you separate it in half. And this is the beetle. I call it the beetle because when I first drew it, it looked like a beetle to me. So halfway, so you're going to be drawing this X or bullseye. Then you're going to draw this U or tunnel or mountain. I haven't really decided on the kind of name that I want for it. Then you're going to draw a line across here, leaving some space there. All right, that's going to be your collarbone. Collarbone comes off, then your delt right there, and then the line where this line comes down and hits that, and with this collarbone, this line hits this circle. Let's see if I can find a blue real quick, because I want you to understand that. Okay, so this circle is coming around and it hits right here. This comes down and scrolls down and hits right here. Same here and here. This is where you're going to put a line. Go back to your red. You can put a line right here and right here. And this is going to allow you, I should have got my little dummy. It allows you to know where the chest starts to turn at and goes up into the delt. So right here, I have this going across. So at this point here, right here and here, this chest is going to turn and go up into the delt like that. So if I grab a quick pen, so SB, SX, this works. The chest is going to be shaped like this. Curve it around and it goes up. Curve it around, it goes up. Missed that line. This is the little dip. This is my collarbone. So you see how that works right there? All right, so this mountain or this tunnel, whichever you want to call it, goes right up underneath there. You have just a little bit of space. If you feel your chest, you can't see what I'm saying. If you feel the bottom of your chest right here to the bone, that dip, you see this probably about that much, if that, I would say about maybe less than that much space between the bottom and there. So from here, not usually here, I'll bring it out a little bit more. This is going to be your waist, and your waist is just basically a rectangle. If you are looking at the person straight on, if the person is tilted, and I do need to grab a figure to make this work a little bit more. Understand, I grab my figure real quick. I came up with this long before they had the figure. This is when I was a kid. All right, so what we have here is the figure. You see the chest right here and this little piece right here. So this is going to be where your stomach is going to be up in here. Your waist is going to be just basically down here. This really doesn't have a waist. So what you have is this. If the person was tilted, this is going to be curved. Just think about putting a belt on a person. I call that the tuna can because I don't know, maybe I was eating tuna. I had a tuna sandwich or something. I just finished making it. And it's the shape of this can right here. Or this shape, this oval shape right here. If the person is leaning forward. Okay? So in here, when you have this, it comes down. In here, you're going to have your love handles. And your love handles are, you know what your love handles are. That part that comes on the side. So what they do is they come right where this point is my blue, right where this curves around, it comes right off of there, and then there's your waist. So it's going to be like this half a triangle. It also allows you to bring your stomach in, because your stomach, after this, it comes in and it goes down into your pelvis. So from here, you have your upside down house. And you can make that as long as you need it to be, or as short as you need it to be, depending on how long your character is, and we'll get into that by changing these things up. Your upside down house, because if I flip it upside down, there's a house. Put a chimney, some windows, front door. Now I usually don't draw this, but I was just showing you it does come down. Realistically, it comes down into the crotch. So I have these three shapes, or 1, 2, 3 shapes with that. So the work is basically done. All right, so, but let's keep on going. So I have this left over. I'm going to have a V right here. That's going to be the length of the neck, a little square right here, a little rectangle right here, and of course the oval. And wherever my chin is, wherever this point comes right here, this is where I usually bring my chin if I'm doing a character or person. And that is if the person is staring straight on at you. Now, if you try to tilt it up, then that head goes forward and the chin comes down further and further. All right, so we have that. Then we have the arms, which are just 3 shapes. And I have what was it? I have upgraded it since this book to make, because I'm always trying to find easier ways to make it. Always trying to find easier ways to teach you guys how to draw. Instead of using like the circle here for the elbows, I just use, and this one is square, I use oval and triangle for this part, because it has more of the shape that you're looking for. So I'm going to use an oval here and a triangle here, or a cone right there. So I'm going to cut this cone off right there, and then I'll put the hand right there. So you already have the shape for the delt right here. The delt is round. This is more shape of the oval versus the cylinder, and this goes narrow and it's more of a cone. And I know people are like, where did you get this from? This is just a body cone. I took the hands. I have a black figure. I just took the hands off the black figure and put it on here, because I didn't feel like this figure had the position of hands that I wanted, but I wanted to put it on the black figure. So basically I just switched hands. That's all. It's nothing new. It's like, oh, he's got gloves. No, I just switched the hands. So yeah. So again, I'll do this oval and cone. And then I'll chop it off where I want the wrist. And then there's the hand. We'll get into hands later. So that's going to be the same thing we're doing here. We're still using these same three shapes, and we're just kind of reversing them. So I'm going to do an oval, a big oval because the legs are big, circle, and the cone again for the leg. So again, oval, circle, and the cone for the bottom part of the leg. Of course, I'm going to chop that off the same way I chopped it off for the wrist. I'm going to chop it off for the foot. The foot is basically a triangle. Now, because you're dealing with basic shapes, you're going to have to learn to turn them and twist them. I don't have any shape of something that I could use real quick. I'm kind of looking. Let's just use one of these erasers. So this little eraser, let's just say triangle-ish. Let's just say this basic shape. If you can draw this basic shape, it's kind of like an arrow, but if you try to twist it a little bit, it's going to change. If you twist it more, it's going to change. If you twist it more, it's going to change. This is why I try to get you to draw the basic shape first, and then take that basic shape and then twist it and turn it from every angle possible so that you will know. So when you do your figure or your character, you'll know what that one shape looks like. Let me take this out. What that one shape looks like in different positions. So that's something you should have been doing if you have been watching my channel. That's like your homework. If ever you're drawing a cylinder. So this would be the cone. This is going to represent this and this. So it goes down. If I'm going to bring it up, you see the opening from the front going backwards. You see some of the opening from the back. So this is just something that you should be doing to manipulate your shapes. Okay. So and again, so here's my foot. This is also again half of a triangle. Cut off right there. If I continued it over, like this, and then kept it going, it's a triangle. It's very simple. I try to break it down into the most simplest shapes possible. All right, so now if I took my ink pen and I started to ink everything, once you learn the shapes, then you know the, I don't want to say actual shape, but let's just say once you learn the basic shape, you learn the actual shapes of the muscles, like the arms. You know, this goes here, the delt is shaped like this. This comes here. The bicep is in here. You see a little bit of the tricep. The forearm goes here. There's your hand. Your latissimus dorsi, your lats. This is your waist. This is this. Now, this can be a number of different shapes. We'll get into that. But I'm going to just do it like this, and it comes in like that, and it goes all the way down. This is your love handles. Your lats again. Your hips, waist, hips. I don't know why I get those up. Mix up your legs, your knee, your calves, inner thigh. And this is just a quick. But as you see, I didn't really deviate too much from the shapes that I've already drawn. Especially if I'm going to put clothes on a character or dress the character. A lot of this you won't see. Shoulders. Now, one thing what's left over here. You have that circle left over. I forgot to tell you that. I will usually from this, with this line, this collarbone touches this delt. That's where I will start my shoulder up to there. Not just what's left. And then, of course, your neck, as I said, it goes down into this little dip or the center. And then you put your head there. And then you have your character. If I erased all the red and I put clothes on them, that's what I have. So every day you should be doing that, using those shapes to make it really, 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 really simple. And then somebody was like, what about the stomach? And this is just overly quick. I could have made the stomach a little smaller or a little narrower. But yeah, that's what you have right there. So now let's get into 15 minutes into it. Let's get into what's the word? Changing changing it into different body types. Okay, I don't know what happened there. So let's move this, but let's keep this kind of in plain sight. In plain sight. All right, let's start out with the arms. Now, if I wanted to take a character, I should not have inked that, but that's all right. Let's just do a quick one real quick. Another really quick one here. So always start out with this, and once you master this, the rest of your drawing is really simple. So I have this because I have a basic size that I always draw. I always draw like the basic size character, unless I need to make the character different. So this is my basic size that just naturally comes out when I draw. All right, so let's just say I wanted this arm to be bigger. So what I'll do is I'll take each piece and I will either shrink it, make it thicker, thinner, longer, so forth and so on, and infinitum. So that basically that is the way that you're going to change your character. Come on, Brian. I'm thinking right now. So my drawing and thinking for some reason is not coming out. Here's my V for my neck. Here's my head, and then here's my waist, my love handle, my upside down house. Okay, so now I've got my body. All right, now let's just say I wanted this guy to be more thicker, more muscular. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this arm that I drew, and I'm just going to make it bigger. It's very simple to do different body types. I'm just going to make it thicker than I have it. The arm is going to come out here. So I'm going to keep this one there right up against the body. So I'm going to bring this one out, and I'm going to make this thicker, and I'm going to give it a fatter wrist. So it's very simple. The body lines or the connections are not going to change. They're just going to move because you changed the size of the body part that you wanted. So if I'm going to have bigger, thicker arms, I'm going to have a bigger hand. So let's say I wanted somebody more skinnier than that. Then I'm going to take what I have, and I'm going to take some of the roundness out of it. It might not be. It's going to stay long if it's the. How can I say that? If it's the same type of person, if it's not a child or a woman, but it's the same. Let's say the guy's 25. Right now we have a guy who like goes to the gym all the time, and he's quite buff. But I want somebody who's 25 who doesn't go to the gym all the time. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to have so much roundness in that. I'm going to kind of flatten it out. Make this as flat as possible, still keeping some curve into it. Let me just draw a hand. A whacked hand at that. So it's very simple. Once you learn these shapes, and that's the whole point of it, you have to know your shapes before you can go anywhere. You have to know how to drive the car before, start the car before you can drive it. It's just these shapes. You have to learn, you have to master these basic, simple shapes. Like 18, I got my pen in my mouth. 18, that's all this is. And that's going to be 12, 13, 18, 19, basically the same shape. So that's your forearm, and then your bottom part of your leg. Here's the shape as close as you can get it. Once you lean it up, it's going to look like that. Once you go back, it's going to look like that. Once you turn to the side, it's going to look like that, and lean it. If you get an angle, if you get a hard angle on it, it's going to look like that. So very, very, very simple to learn how to draw once you get I wouldn't say the right teacher, but once you get the right instructions, it's so simple. So here's the guy. He's got the little skinny arm. He needs to go and work out. Which, maybe when he takes his little serum, he gets big. But he didn't have enough, so the serum is only enough to cover one arm. or one half of his body. So if I want to do like a kid or somebody shorter, pencil, pencil, then it's going to be the same thing. I'm going to use my shapes again, get my shapes in there, and then I'm going to make it shorter. Let's just say he was like a little person or a kid. I'm just going to make it a little shorter. What is with me and hands? I don't know. And I have been doing my comic book, and I'm going to do crowdfunding on this particular title. It's a new title, and that's where I've been for the last like 3 weeks. So that's why I haven't got a video up, because I've been concentrating. I'm trying to get this thing finished by the end of December so that next year I can get it going. So again, if it's a kid, the hand's going to be smaller. It's going to be shorter. He's not going to have a lot of muscles. It's going to kind of be the same way, but it's just a little shorter. With, again, more smoother. And then a smaller hand, of course. So that would be a kid's hand, or a little person. Little person, you know, little people, that's what is it? What is it? Whatever correct, technically correct, the little person, midget. You'd have to get images, because a lot of them, the way they're shaped, the arms are the same length, the legs are shorter, the hands might be bigger, the head is usually the same length. It's like the torso is the torso, not the torso, but the bottom half is usually shorter than the top half. But it's I can't explain how it is, but some parts are the same length that they should have been, and some parts are shorter. You just have to figure out however you want to do it. Okay, so we have this again. So let's do this. So I want to make a tall, skinny guy. So I'm going to have my same parts again. And this is just doing the outline of the parts. 3 pieces: circle, rectangle, and upside down house. That's this, without all of the lines and muscles. So if I wanted to make somebody tall and skinny, I'm going to narrow this out. I'm going to narrow that, narrow this. I should do this in blue so you can see. So I'm going to, it's not blue. I'm going to narrow this out. Politically correct, that's what I was trying to say. Politically correct, little people, a little person. And then that shape right there. So then I'm going to have this, center line, curves up. And let's say I want to have a longer head. So I'm just taking this oval, which is basically an egg shape. Here's my egg shape. And for those who have trouble drawing this, another way you can do this is just do a square, a rectangle. The rectangle, and then chop it off here and then round it off there. So if you miss that rectangle for the head, especially if you're looking straight ahead, rectangle for the head, my blue pencil. So I'm going to, this is going to be my center line. I'm going to round it off here and then circle up here, and then I have my head. Put my eye in, other eye in, nose, mouth, and then I have my head. So it's an easier way to try to, instead of trying to get it just so perfect, it's easier to draw a rectangle than it is to draw an egg shape. Quick, easy tip. All right, so again here, we've got this, and for the legs, I'm gonna go back on here. We got my oval. And this is a practice thing. You have to practice kind of how long you want, or the length of a particular part of the body. I've seen people draw these too long or too short, and I've gone to conventions where I've seen people show their portfolios to like editors, and that's one thing they get on them about, is drawing it out of proportion. What's wrong with me? I don't want to talk too much because I'll mess it up. So, but it's just basically, it's just drawing every day before you go to bed, even just like 3 minutes. Just draw an action pose position, just something, just one position a day before you go to bed, okay? I have the other book, which is all action poses. So if you just draw one, you'll get used to it. You know, eventually you just wake up one day and you're like, wow, I can draw this thing, because you're drawing something every day. Like I said, it can be just 3 minutes a day. Draw a hand, draw an expression. Expression, that's the word, of the face. So yeah, you don't have to draw a whole picture. It doesn't have to be perfect. You're just drawing part of it to keep you going, and it's in your memory. So this is going to be a tall person. So instead of this being, you know, thick and proportionate, I'm going to make this thin and a little longer. Circle for the knee, and then this, which is the cone, like that. So I just round it off here and here. Not too much, because it's a tall person. So if you have one character, like you're doing a character that's tall, and if you're doing a team, then everybody should not be the same shape. Everybody should not be the same shape. If you have somebody that's the fighter, he should have more of the Captain America, like this type body. If you have somebody who's more the big boy, you know, he should be thicker, way thicker. A runner would be more leaner, or a swimmer. The flyer should be just kind of almost like the runner, slimmer. I mean, he can fly. This particular shape can fly. Depending on, if he's like Superman, he's just like all encompassed, just one thing, then yeah, like that. But if you have a team and everybody has a specific power, then it should be a different body shape. If all I did was squats, that's all I did was squats, like, you know, 100 pounds on my back squats. My top of my body would look like this, but my legs would be really big, like that. So you have to start thinking about that when you're drawing a different character. If you're just drawing people on the subway, then you're going to draw your average people with arms like this, okay? So again, let's go back to this. I don't want this to be kind of hour. So you're just making it longer, and if you put your elbow down to your side, your elbow comes almost kind of like your belly button. Your belly button is like right between this and that, if I'm not mistaken. Between, you have your love handle, and where your rib cage meets, I believe your belly button is right across from there, if I'm not mistaken. So this part will come down to there. This part will come down to the crotch, and then the hand, your wrist comes to the crotch, and then the hand comes right below that, so that you will have your tall person. You have your thick person, your tall person, your short person. Let's do one real quick. I'm always going to do this, because this is going to tell me, by the size of this is going to tell me how big my head needs to be. If I'm going to draw a kid, okay, so I got this. So a kid's head is going to be wider, like that. So this is going to be my kid. I wasn't going to draw a kid, but this is going to be my kid. He's shorter. He has no real muscles, because he's a kid. And this is all draw, Brian. 1, 2, 3 pieces. The foot, the arms, the delts, the arms. And this is all because of the size of the head. Delt, arm. Now, if I took off that head, give me a good eraser, and I put a smaller head on there, it almost turns into a man, you know, thick, kind of stocky kind of guy, because of the size of that head. So that's one way that you can determine the shape of a body, is the head. But this thing right here is the most important, because that tells me how long my legs have to be, how wide the shoulders are going to be to put the delts here, and definitely how big the head is going to be. So that head determines a lot. So I'll make this a kid again, and I was gonna do a short guy, so I just did the kid, so I could make it the head even bigger. So I would say this guy's like a young teen, and if I made it like bigger, he'd be even smaller. And he'd be younger. Depending on the clothes I put on him, I would not have this. I would have this more leaner like that. And that's sort of another thing I was going to say about this. This, depending on how wide it is, how much latch you have, you make it leaner. So where you go? This little skinny guy's leaner right here. This is your average Joe right here. He won't have like thick lats like some kind of superhero like that. Just make it leaner, kind of almost straight. Same with this. Like that. And give them the shoulders. The shoulders will slope down. Shoulders going to slope down, just like in a female. We'll do that. And then the arms. And then your hands. Like so. So you won't have the massive roundness in the chest, because when you do shoulders, you have this, you have your collarbone going to your center, and then you have this piece right here going to your neck or going up into the head. That creates the mass. But when you slope it down just like this and then go down like a waterfall, that determines whether the person's muscular or not. So okay, let's do a big guy. Let's do a big guy, as in healthy, fat, chubby. Okay, what is it politically correct? Again, we have this. We have my waist. We have my hips, waist, hips. Okay, I don't know why I can't get those right. And then we have my legs. So just for the sake of it, let's do this, and let's put my arms on my delts, and then my arms. Oval and triangle, Brian. Oval and triangle. Okay, so we have this, because this is bone. This part here is your bone. This is your rib cage. This is not going to change. So someone that's big, healthy, fat, chubby, the fat is heavy. Number one, fat is like heavy. It's going to sink. It's going to sink. So it's going to go down. So one thing men always have is in the stomach. So you have this is not going to move. So you have your love handle here. And you know that a lot of people, they have that love handle when they're not like really, really, really big. It's just that, the fat is right here in the waist, right there in the hip, waist there. So you have that, and then it goes into the butt and then into the legs. But if you're trying to draw somebody like really big, so if I'm drawing somebody that's really just kind of like out of shape, I'm not going to give them lats. It's going to be straight down, almost like a kid. It's going to be straight down. And then give them that right at that lat where those lats. The love handles come out. I'll bring it out and drop that stomach down. So this guy's got a flat stomach because it's straight across. But when I drop it down like that, and then I can bring this out like that as well. And depending on the buttocks, it could be, big, heavy belly and narrow buttocks or narrow hip. And then it could be just, fat inner thighs going to narrow knees. It depends on how big you want your guy. If you're doing like the blob or something, then you're going to have like multiple layers of fat that's hanging down. It could be, you can have like the man boobs, dropping down. And then just, like I say, he won't have lats, but I'll bring this out a little bit more just because of the fat, and then bring it down more. And then this knees, you can have big wrinkly knees, most likely not. And then this as well. You don't get too much fat here. You can, but usually in this part of the leg, I don't know why, you really don't get that much fat in the leg. The neck, it depends on the type of person you want to do. You're not going to have the muscular here. You're going to have the drooping, and then the arms, and then the fat in the arms. It's not going to have shape. It's just, remember, fat drops down, especially in the little, you can't see where's my arm, in the little, your bicep, triceps. And then here too. And again, as I say, it depends on how big you want your character. And of course, the face is here. And you might want like bigger cheeks, cheekbones, not cheekbone, cheeks. And maybe a double chin or droopy chin. And your neck comes around. You can have a double. Let's see if I can paint this. So I'll say something like this. And then your neck going down. And saggy. So you basically, you take it, you're thinking of like of a water balloon, and you're putting water in it, and you see how that water just sags. Like that. And you could have, but you got bone right here. It's like the buttocks will get flabby, not really big. It gets really thin, but saggy. So I would keep like the hips, and then just big legs, especially in the thighs. Rub your thighs together. Regular knee, regular whatever this leg is. Part of the leg is called. I don't know right now. That, and then your feet. It's like, okay, I know I'm fat. Yeah, so my ears and my head. Wider nose. That has nothing to do with being fat, but just because. Yeah. Okay, so it was something else I was gonna do with that. Wide, fat, and let's say if you want to make the guy, if he's short and fat, you just shorten the legs up, and then he'll be shorter and bigger, SBD. You just shorten the legs up. The more you shorten it, the shorter he's gonna be. Again, as I say, it's working with the shapes. It's working with the basic shapes. Your oval, for the neck. These are triangles. These would be considered triangles right here. As you see this is just a triangle. On both sides, you have your circle, oval, cone, oval, whatever that shape is again. Rectangle, upside down house, oval, circle, and cone again. Those simple shapes will create a human. It's just a lot of times people will want to put muscles and so forth on the character, and you have to kind of know where your muscles go before you actually make them a little fatter and put some clothes on them. For somebody's like, why is he drawing naked fat people? Like that. Actually, I put a little suit on him. He's a hero, so I put his boots on. One short leg hero. Yeah, all right. Yeah, I was gonna put some shoulders, some straps on the shoulders, but that'll make it a little weird. So, all right, I just remember the last one I said I was gonna draw. I was gonna draw a big guy. Big guy. Everybody likes the big guys, the Hulk types. So again, here we go. Start out with the regular shapes. 1, 2, 3 regular shapes. You have your body. It's very simple. Center line down the whole thing. Just go center this with your chest, your cave or mountain, and this can be any shape, any shape. You don't even, when you're drawing superheroes, a lot of times people use the same kind of shape for the cutout for your stomach. It could be any shape. I usually like to do this. It could go over and down. It can be round. It could be more of a triangle. So just kind of work with that as you are creating your other characters. Like I say, we got this one is oval. Let's just say this one could be more of a triangle. We can have another guy. Did I have another guy? This one could just come over. It could be like flat and over and down. But that is a good way to draw different characters, is by the different stomach muscles. And also, everybody's stomach is not even. It's not like even like that. I can't think of mathematically correct. You know, this guy could be like one here, one there, one here, one there, one here, and one there. You know, another good way to change your characters around a little bit, especially if you got the team shot and everybody's standing together. You don't want everybody to be the exact same shape or size. So, okay, going to the big guy. So let me draw this guy out real quick. This particular character out real quick. And I usually do this little center line. Where is it at? This little guy. There's a line right here in the leg. It's like separates that muscle. That usually tells me personally, how long I need to make the leg. So I'm going to draw the average guy, average hero, right? And then I'm going to transform this guy into a big Hulk type. So he's kind of he's leaning over for some strange reason. I don't know, but we'll go with that. We'll go with it. Cross here is my delt. Cross here is my delt. And the delt, once you get this collarbone, your delt is going to be right up under it. It's like the scale, what is it, the scale of justice or whatever, and you got this thing under it. It's right up under that, right up under there. So if you get this, it's going to be a circle right up under. So that's basically, it's just kind of holding that up. That's how you do it. This light drawing on my final paper. Not that this is going to be the final paper, but you know what I'm saying. We got this curves here. And you got from here to here again, it's going to curve here into that delt. You got your arm, oval, and we've got my cone. Oval, cone. This is left over. My head is going to go, this is going to go straight up. So right here and here, we're going to have that V. That's going to tell me how fat my neck is going to be, how thick my neck is going to be. Right where that curves at right there. I'm going to put my chin right there. And remember, if you have trouble, bring that head, make a square or rectangle, bring that head and that neck straight down together. And I can chop it off right there. Then I can round it off. Boom. I got a head, perfect head that fits. Make that neck right there. If you decide to make a head and you want the person not to be muscular, then give them a small neck. Same thing with this kid. You see the head is like way out here and the neck is right in there. That also determines how weak or how strong a person is by the size of the neck. All right, so some whack little fists, and then my foot here, the other foot here. Remember what that is? It's just half a triangle cut off, okay? So there's my person. He's kind of muscular. I can make him a little more muscular by giving him some lats. You know, and I can make the waist smaller. So I'm going to take this guy, and it is kind of dim, but that's all right. Move everything else out the way you'll be able to see it. And I'm going to turn him into the Hulk type. So one thing I'm going to do when I start out, I'm going to make sure I make this a little wider. But let's just say you're used to drawing one size, but you want to take that size because you're comfortable drawing this size. So you want to take that size and you want to make it bigger. So what I want to do is I'm going to just make this, I'm going to take this out a little bit more. And of course I didn't draw the shoulders, so I'm going to draw the shoulders. So the shoulders are going to come up into the neck, or where the shoulders are right here. I'm going to lift those shoulders up. So let's make this blue, make it a little easier. So let's start out from the head. Your head is not going to grow any bigger. I don't care how much weight you lift. Your head is going to stay the same size. Everything else is going to get bigger. So I'm going to take this neck and I'm going to make this neck out more. Already he's looking more powerful. I'm going to make this shoulder rounder. Like that. He is leaning. Let me see if I can straighten this out before I go any further. Straighten that out, straighten this out any further. Okay, now I can bring this out a little bit more because I want to make those shoulders out. I'm going to make this bigger. I'm going to take this and I'm going to massively make this bigger. the same as the arm. The arm is going to probably be about the size of this, if not bigger, because you want to give him that. The triceps, the bicep is going to be like this, tricep, and then the forearm. Now, where that muscle, the bottom of that muscle comes, if I can show it, there is going to be a dip. You see this little dip right here, and there's a line that comes across, and this line is going to go to wherever the thumb is pointed. It's not going to go way over here. It's going to go to the thumb. So if you do this, you can bring that line down and kind of like separate the two. It's going to go to the thumb, and this is going to be wider. Now, one thing, I'm not going to have this guy with big forearms and a skinny wrist. I'm going to have this guy with big forearms and a bigger wrist to give him a bigger muscular hand. Okay, so we got that. We got this rounded. We got this. He said this is going to be big, but it's not going to be as big as this arm, because the bigger the arm and the bigger the wrist, the more powerful it signifies a person. So what I'm going to do, we have my lats. I'm going to bring my lats out. So your lats, how can I say? You have your rib cage. Your lats only go as far as the bottom of your rib cage. So it's going to go like this. I'm going to give him, I'm not going to give him a little thin waist. I'm going to give him some meat. I'm going to give him, this guy, some meat, because your core is everything. Your core is everything. So then I'm going to bring out this hip here. The hip's I'm not going to change the hips too much. I don't want them to be skinny, but I'm not going to change them, bring them out too much, because I want some good thick stabilization right here. And then of course these legs are going to be able to pick up a house, okay? I'm still going to have, you can't deviate from where the crotch is and where the leg's going to go, but you can puff this side out right here. You can make this bigger, and then that's when I would get my muscles into place. And then this, like I said, you don't want to go like in, because when he closes his leg, they're going to rub anyway. You're going to have your knee, which is not really going to change too much. And then you're going to have this. Of course, I'm going to bring this out more. And this calf is going to be just, you can just take a bite out of that calf because it's like so meaty. And then the foot, unless I'm drawing the Hulk with like big old dragon feet or something, the feet are not going to be that much of a change as far as size wise. I mean, if he's a 12 and a half, he's still going to be a 12 and a half or maybe a 13. So I think I'll leave half and half. Let's just go half and half. It'll be a good example for you guys. So we have the head, which is going to stay the same. So I want to replace this neck and this shoulder with the basic neck and shoulder in red. So this neck is going to come straight down into that, and this shoulder is going to be like that. So you can see the difference between the two. So we have this neck is going to come out depending on how wide you want that neck. I wouldn't go too wide, but I'll come out like this, and it's going to go down. Then I'm going to make that round. Here's my collarbone right here. It's going to get a little separation right here. And my giant size tricep. Separate from my bicep. Separate here. You have the little triangle piece. You can make this just a little wider. And this goes up there. So we're going to have this hand right there. Remember the lat. We're going to have that wide lat that comes into there. Now your serratus, once you come up, if you're straightforward, if you come up, if you go like from right with this tip, and this should have been right here. This is down a little low. I'll fix that real quick, because this and the collarbone meet right there. So if you take from here and you go here, you make a curve like this, your serratus muscles are going to follow that, and right behind your serratus muscles is where your lats and your serratus of these ribs. So what I like to say is you make a fang, you make it like a fang, like a tiger fang, or whatever, fangs like that. So right from here on, going on the inside like that. So where the chest is. So let me get that chest, because this guy's got to have a massive chest. Center line And instead of straight, I'll drop it down a little bit because muscle is heavy too. So I'll drop it down and I'll curve it, give it curve. That's going to be that balloon. Like that. And as I say, the serratus muscles comes up like that. Serratus, serratus, and I think you have like 3 ribs. No, is it 4 ribs you see? Like that. And then you have these inner other ribs there. I don't know what that little space is called. Comes down, so it's gonna come down, and this is where my I'm losing it. The more I talk, the more I lose it. My love handles or obliques. Then I want to have my hips, and of course, my massive house lifting legs. So to make a bigger guy, you're going to make everything more rounder. Right there. So yeah. And then I can add my abs however I want to add my abs. Let's just say, because if this is cut deep inside, there is like this line, there's like this dark line right here because it's cut in deep. So I usually add a little triangle right here, and right here, which is like this. Get away, pencil. I hate when pencils do this. To me, it's like a little roach or something running at you. I add these little triangles here, and then I curve it around. And then in the center, I add diamonds. So it would be both sides would be diamonds. Both sides would be diamond. It'd be a diamond for both sides. And then half there and half on the other side. And when you darken it, it looks really good. It looks like it's really cutting into the character. So on the other side, we have your average, not average, this is more like your Captain America. This would be more, it's a little bigger than Thor. So this would be your average hero size right here. A little bit of that. And there's nothing wrong with, this side here. I'd bring this waist in a little bit more, bring that in, keep that like that. And this chest is not going to be balloon, it's not going to be round, it's going to be more squared like that. And your delt is going to be here, collarbone is going to be here, and your shoulder is going to be more like that. So let's ink this. So we have this. So here, there. So again, I'll keep that. And actually, this will actually go down because you have 2 solid muscles that go right down into the crotch. And let's say you're going to have that solid line. So you're going to have more waist over here than you would over there because this guy is like slim, and you can still have your serratus muscles there, but I wouldn't have the extra piece there. Chest, and then the collarbone. Now, when you have your delt, how long is this? 55 minutes. Woo, minus cuts. You're going to have this separation right here because this actually goes around the back of your neck. It goes up and around. I'll still have it here, but it won't be as pronounced as there. So we have my delt, my arm. I'm getting quick now. Like that. So I think I've got everything you need. So you see the difference between bigger and smaller. I'm gonna use this little trick here. So you have the big guy right there, and you have the small guy right there. And that's all it is to it. Now, if I wanted to make him shorter or taller or however, then as I said, I would have shrunk the arms or the legs or so forth. Massive, I would have made his legs smaller. Like if I'm drawing a Hulk, I would have made the legs, I would have made him shorter and the foot bigger, but overall size, he would have been bigger. So without having this thing too long, I'm going to end it there. And the next one, I'm going to do the female. I might get demonetized, but it's about teaching you guys what you need to know to draw to become a better artist. So that's going to be it. Hopefully I did not miss anything. Helpful book. I have several books on Amazon. If you don't know, this is on Amazon with a lot of my other drawing books. Just put my name in, Brian Proctor Drawing Books, and hopefully you get to them. And I have children's books on there as well. And I always say, if you can draw, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Learn to do other things too. Do comic books, children's books, comic strips, greeting cards. There's so many things that you can do with your talents to make money. So yeah, and don't sit there and just draw Batman all the time and Superman all the time, or draw somebody's character. Use the ability to draw a body and a head, and then create your own character. You never know. Somebody from Hollywood might see that and like, oh, that's different, and contact you and say, hey, I like that. Can we use that? That's instant money for you. Cha-ching. So yeah, don't just draw Batman and Superman and Goku and whoever's popular all day, because you can go on TikTok or whatever, and you can see, oh, you flip, here's somebody drawing Batman, go again. Here's somebody drawing Batman, go again. Here's somebody drawing Batman. And the one who draws Batman the best is the one that you're going to probably remember. But after you go to bed, it's like, all the people drawing Batman. But if you have some kind of weird, strange, cool looking character, that will stick in your mind or stick in that person's mind. So yeah, that's going to be it. More helpful knowledge. And I will see you guys in the next video.